I'm at Florence and welcome to my channel. Let's go! Now recently the military of the Philippines accused communist rebels of burning down a school in an attempt to extort this school for money. The only problem was that it was exposed a few days ago that the entire story was a hoax. Now for those of you who don't know what's going on in the Philippines, there is a communist guerrilla organisation which works in the countryside, the jungles and the mountains called the New People's Army, or shortened to NPA. They are technically the oldest communist insurgency in the entire world at the age of 48. They were founded 48 years ago. They fluctuate in numbers depending on the year, the decade, the time, what's happening, but recently there were failed attempts to try to secure a peace deal with the government.
Ano yung kable mo?
Po natin sa media. Kukunin ko na lang yung ilan pang hindi pwede.
Hindi siya, side shot lang.
Kaya yung ano. Kaya ang ginawa na lang namin, mas pinili ng mga pamilya niya, yung mga kapatid niya na bumili na lang ng kabaong at tanggalang magdesisyon na huwag na lang siyang dalhin sa dialysis center ng ilang araw. Yung isang buong linggo. Patayin na lang siya.
Kaya sa mga kaibigang media, hindi na kayong manap ng pwesto.
On the same day they were accused of burning down this school, it also happens to be their 48th anniversary. They were accused of burning down the school on this anniversary. Now here are the details of the accusation. A military radio station called Catropa DWDD, which is a radio station belonging to the armed forces of the Philippines, put out some pictures of a burned out school, which you can see them here. And they claimed that this is the aftermath of communists burning down the school, and they claimed that the communists did it for trying to extort lunch money out of the teachers. Now, currently, as I am looking at it right now, this post has 13,000 shares on Facebook and 5,500 reacts on Facebook. And many different news sources copied the story, copied and relayed this fake news. DavoToday.com, which is a Filipino news website, picked up the story and they interviewed the City Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Office of Valencia City, who clarified, quote, that the school allegedly burned by the New People's Army was actually gutted due to a short circuit. But not only that, but somebody actually managed to interview one of the teachers at the school, Mary Jean Subayako, who says the cell phone charger which was left in overnight triggered the fire and it had nothing to do with communists whatsoever. You can actually look at the article and the quote on Rappler.com. There is a link to that in the description below, which you can see, and all the sources I'm citing are in the description below. And not only this, but the communists themselves, part of the democratic wing of the New People's Army communists, put out a statement calling it fake news and blasting the AFP, the Armed Forces of the Philippines, for putting out these false allegations against them. Now let's take a little moment to think about how frustrating this is. Imagine you are a communist in the Philippines, you leave your family, you leave all your possessions behind, you pick up a gun knowing that you may never come back, and you walk into the mountains to start the struggle against the Filipino government. That takes a lot of dedication. And to think that you are fighting and giving your life for this cause, only to know that back home the people that you were with are spreading this fake bullshit about you, not even thinking about whether it's true or not, and you're there risking your life in the jungle fighting against the military, and the people back home are spreading lies about you, and you can't fight back against those lies because you're in the jungle away from the computers. It must be really so frustrating for these communists that the Filipino people are eating up and believing these lies. I don't believe that all Filipino people are, but a certain, group, a certain minority of Filipino people are sharing this, as we just showed. It got 13,000 shares. I really shouldn't be surprised. I mean, fake news is an integral part of psychological warfare in which you can demonize the enemy, making it easier to kill them, and demonizing them usually takes a high degree of lies, including this, the fake news story claiming that the communists burned down a school for lunch money. The actual detail of the story was they claimed that the lunch money was a fund by the teachers to give the children's lunch. But just think about this a second. Communists failed raid... Sorry, no. Let's start this again. Failed raid on school to steal lunch money by communist guerrillas ends up burning down school. I mean, think of the title they must have read. And think of the idiots, the 13,000 idiots who read this and thought, oh, communists raided a school to steal lunch money from children. That sounds real. That's something that happened. Remember this. Next time the armed forces of the Philippines and the Filipino government makes a ludicrous accusation about the communists, just remember this story, this fake news story, and next time they make an accusation about the communists, think a few minutes, is this true? Is this something that they would do? Does this sound likely? Does this sound reliable? Because the New People's Army, the communist rebels in the Philippines, have a long history of helping people, setting up schools and medical centres in the rural areas where people are too poor to afford these things. Actually, you can see here are some video clips of the communists delivering medical aid to the people in the countryside. Now, it doesn't matter whether you like or hate communists, you could hate them to your heart's content. But here are their videos showing them delivering aid to people in the countryside. And that's actually how they gain their trust for guerrilla warfare operations in the countryside. The communists don't have the big weapons and cash and support that the Filipino government does. So in order for the communists to actually stay afloat and alive and to actually be active, they have to have support from the people in the rural areas. And a part of the support is giving them medical aid, teaching rural people how to read, helping them after typhoon disasters and other natural disasters, and gaining the support of the rural population through these methods. If they didn't do that, they wouldn't have any support from the rural people. If they didn't have any rural support from the people, they wouldn't exist. Thank you, I'm Matt Florence. I hope you enjoyed my video. I actually have a series called The Propaganda War, where I take a country or an event and I deconstruct all the fake news, lies and resources about it. So for example, I've done a video on Syria and Russia and North Korea in which I take news in the mainstream media in the UK and the United States and deconstruct, is it true or not, and here are the facts of what's actually happening. You can see the playlist in the description below. Thank you, I'm Matt Florence. Goodbye.